Thank you everyone for joining us today. This is our 4th monthly webinar, which is brilliant. So we've been joined by Andrew Moon from Swoop today. So thank you, Andrew, for joining us. And thanks to you all for tuning in. I know, with Wales opening up a little bit and people reopening, I appreciate your time today. So hopefully it will be worthwhile. So we're going to try and keep it short and sweet. We're trying to make it 25, 30 minutes long. It's just going to be an introduction to Swoop, the why, where and when, and to see whether Swoop is right for you. And then at the end of the webinar, we'll have a chance for you to ask some questions. So as I say, the webinar is going to be recorded. So if you do have to shoot off halfway through, hopefully, I think you'll get the most out of it if you do stay to the end and you get your questions in. But either way, it's going to be recorded anyway. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Andrew just a series of questions, which hopefully answer a lot of your questions. So first question I've got for you, Andrew, is, so who Swoop are? If you can explain to us who Swoop are and what is it that you do exactly?
Hi. Okay, it's a pretty simple idea. It's under one roof, an integrated platform that people can use for equity, grants, debt and savings. We work with over 1,000 different funding partners. And if there's a beauty to the system, the simple beauty is that somebody can go on and look at one area now, or they can look to play one area off against another. And it might be that someone's looking in 2021 for debt, and then next year the business is growing, so they're also looking for equity, or they're also looking to review their debt needs then, or looking for grants. But rather than having to start again, it's all stored in one place. It's free to use. I'll stop there and let Reese ask his second question.
So my next question is, what is Swoop's USP?
I would probably say that the USP is the fact that it is free to use, is integrated. And
when you say it's integrated with Xero and
integrated with accountancy software, and integrated on the banking side. So if somebody were to be looking to use us just to review their banking costs, they can come onto our website, they can integrate their bank account. In the course of a couple of minutes, it will then produce a report that compares your current bank with 9 other providers. The average saving we're getting on that is about £1,500.
Wow.
And generally, because somebody's with an old-fashioned, in inverted commas, bank, they're with Lloyds, NatWest, or whatever, where they're being charged for standing orders, direct debits, etc., and they're moving to somebody like TSB, Revolut, or Starling, where they're not getting charged for it. So that's an example of the integration, and it's the sort of thing that you can do when you first register or at a later stage. The particular question was, what's our USP? We got, back in 2019, a £5 million grant under the Bank Recovery Scheme, because our stated aim was to create a level playing field for SMEs up and down the country. So it's a system that can be used from a brand new startup that hasn't even got a bank account through to a business that's been going for 30, 50, 100 years.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So basically, you're going to be looking at savings through comparing people's bank loans, bank accounts, grants, and utility bills as well. Yep,
and FX. And we're building in the ability for people to review their credit scores. So what we're trying to think is, hold on, if you're an SME, what are the points, what are the things that create grief? And if they create grief, how can we help to solve them? But we don't want to have it too much like a sort of jumbled up supermarket where you can't find anything. So as we add new services in, it needs to be done in a way that the person is walking into the supermarket and go, all right, I know where toilet rolls are. Toilet rolls aren't next to whiskey. They can understand how the system works. The system's free to use, which maybe gives the idea that we're a charity, but we're not. Practically, the way that it works is, if we were doing equity work for a client, we get paid a success fee. If we're doing grant work for a client, If it's a grant with a LEP, there is no cost whatsoever, and we just direct somebody to the relevant LEP. But if it's a larger grant of more than £100,000, we work with selected partners, and I can talk more about it later on. And they charge a success fee. So if somebody gets a large grant, they charge a success fee, and Swoop get paid out of that. So again, there's no cost for you. And on the debt side, we could do all the running around, all the searching and all the finding, find you a facility for £50,000, and you go, thank you very much, and don't take it. There's no cost to you. We don't charge anything. We only get paid by the providers if somebody takes something out.
Okay, brilliant.
One of the statements that's on our website is, in many, many cases, if somebody comes through us to look for funding, their cost would be less, but never more than if they'd gone direct. So there's no enhanced cost by using us.
Yep. Okay, brilliant. I think at this point, I think it'd be a good idea to possibly jump into the system and have a look at what it looks like.
Brilliant. Okay, let me just.
I mean, we see it time and time again, especially dealing with older businesses, that they've been with a bank account with one of the main players and just not really considered anything else. And I think that's why it's great for us to kind of to look into this with them potentially.
My take is that people look forward with their business as to where they're going, but they're not very good at looking where they are. So they're not very good at examining what's in place at present.
Yeah.
Everyone who's listening in, hopefully you can see the screen. If you were now, this is the bit that you'd be doing when you're adding a new company to the Swoop account. So you're in the system, you got to the stage you're about to add your business. Add your business. There's no viral marketing. There's no impact on your credits. We're going to be a bit creative there, which is YT Creative. We're going to say that YT Creative is looking for loans, equity, and grants. We also cover commercial mortgages, but I'm not going to add that in now because I want to be able to have the idea of how it works across to you within sort of. What's the client looking for? £100,000. Why do they want the money? I'm looking for some money. I've been affected by COVID. I want to purchase some stock because I want to be able to soft notes. I want to be able to open for the summer. I just want a big order. That'd be the soft notes that you put in that gets seen by the funding team. Are you planning on hiring anybody? Well, let's say one. Is there R&D spend in the business? Let's say £1,000. Turnover in the last financial year. Okay. How long have you been trading? 2 to 5 years. Who do you bank with? HSBC. At this stage, if Reese was doing it, he could integrate software, or you could do it yourselves, but it's not obligatory at this stage. It's as and when you feel comfortable. But if someone has integrated their accountancy software, obviously what we are greater ability to be able to read somebody's financial situation straight away. This is saying this is the information that's generally needed on the funding side, the debt side. And again, you might be looking at this and going, do you know what? I'm happy to talk to somebody, but at this stage, I'm not going to do all of that. I'm just happy to give them my last 2 years filed accounts. So you can give us, again, whatever you feel comfortable, which might be nothing. It might be everything. This has been picked up from Companies House. Company was formed in 2010 in Hereford. If your business has a different trading address, add that in because that would increase what we can see on the grant side and also on equity. Let's say this business is trading B2B. They're in media. For demonstration purposes, I'm also going to put down that they're in robotics because that might throw up a couple of things on the grant side. Turnover to date for this year.
So the more you put in here, the better, but you don't have to put everything in.
You need to answer these questions, but you don't need to provide the financial information.
Okay.
And this is now specifically saying, do you have money that comes in via credit card terminals? Because that means we could potentially lend with merchant cash advances. This is covering invoice finance and trade finance. So the only bit of information, the financial bit, that page there, that's the only bit that you're adding in. And what the system has done is it's picked up the age of your company, information that you've added, and it's matched that with 63 different potential funding options. So it's not saying you get money with 63 different providers, it's saying the information that you've given matches their criteria. So 62 are loans, one's a grant. The first one that pops up on the loan side with NatWest, it's saying that's a term loan with NatWest, starting at 50,000, going to 25 million, rates from 3.5% per annum. Bit of information about how it works. You press Start Swoop Review. It says specifically, this is the information that's needed. Again, you can give what you like at this stage because all you're doing is exploring. What happens is almost straight away you will see that NatWest has dropped off that list, and someone in the funding team now gets a message in their system that says one of Reese's clients has gone on to Swoop, has put down they're looking for 200,000, and they would either, depending on the way that you'd registered, speak to you directly or would be speaking to Reese to find out the way of talking to you. The funding team at this stage know nothing about that. You can see that basic information, but they haven't seen any of your financials unless you'd integrated them. So you'd then be saying to the funding team, look, I'm looking for 100 grand, but I've got a client that's paying me X in 2 months' time, and this is about to happen. So you give the story. The funding team then can begin to work out which of these potential routes are suitable. Hopefully by that stage, you're then happy to give your financials. When the team look at your financials, they're able to go, oh, whoops, we can see that we've got a whole load of bounce payments. You're not going to get this rate or that rate. You're going to get an expensive rate. Maybe we should look to review what we do for now. Or they might go, wow, we can see that you've got an existing debt facility with so-and-so, that's got 18 months left. Why don't we look at maybe taking that 18-month facility and bunging it into what we're doing now over 5 years, because that would reduce your monthly costs. So they're working out with you the most appropriate potential solution. And they might be then bringing in some of these other solutions or discarding them. And they wouldn't be obviously applying to 85 different people. What they'd be doing, 85, 61, what they'd be doing is working out with you who they should be talking to, what's the best blend. Swoop are regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. We can collect information, we can submit to providers, but we can't recommend. We can't say, if I were you, I would take this one rather than that one. And that would be your decision that you'd be working out, but they're able to support and guide.
Yep.
The grant side, there's something called a Crack It Challenge. I've no idea what that is. And that should be for companies that are based in Herefordshire, which is where we put down the company. Between 1k and £1 million closes in December. Okay.
How hot is the system currently on obviously COVID grants? I know it's probably quite difficult for it to keep up with the different grants that are coming out now to kind of support various business sectors and whatnot. I know you mentioned you were working alongside Business Wales, weren't you?
Yeah, well, the best endorsement that we got on the grant side is that we're now the official grant partner for NatWest Banking Group.
Okay.
So to have got to that stage, they had to be pretty comfortable with what we're doing. So it's far easier to be up to date with all the big grants, the ones that come from the government. The bit that's harder is, let's say, I don't know, Caresus Council come up with a grant of £4,000 for people who are doing something and work in anabolic steroids or something like that. That's the bit that's really hard to put on.
Okay.
And make sure those sorts of things come on. Obviously, on the loan side, we haven't yet got the recovery loans because no one has actually published what details of what their product's going to be.
Okay. So in a nutshell, on the loans, rather than someone go into, which they would naturally do, go to their current bank account and see what the offer was there, through coming on here, you're going to be able to see the whole market and potentially look at other options other than just, one set loan, maybe a combination or whatever it might be.
Yeah. So what you've got is a professional person who's able to sit down and talk to you and say, do you know what, you were thinking about just getting let's say a single term loan. Because of the way that your business is structured, it might make sense to do a bit of asset finance, a smaller term loan, and we can look at, it might be maybe a bit of a cash flow facility because you've got certain blips during the year when you have to pay Reese's fees and you're going, how on earth do I find the money to do that? But a product you can just draw and use and only get charged when you're using it.
Okay.
And back to the banking thing, I was talking to an accountant the other week and he said, well, I always send my clients to the bank. And I said, great. The advantage that we've got is we know exactly how the banks think. We have them as on our system. And it might well be that we know that we can provide a significantly better solution than that bank. But also, if we're going direct to the bank on your behalf, we know how to do it. We know the exact criteria that they need, the exact financial information, and we'd only submit if we know that it's going to suit you, so that wouldn't have any impact on your credit score. That was a long answer put into 30 seconds for everybody. Okay,
brilliant. So we've looked at loans, we've looked at grants. What are the other? And
on the
we've also touched on banking and that side of things as well, haven't we?
Yeah, and on the business savings side, if there's anyone who's listening who has any FX costs, the system will allow them to compare who's going to be the most appropriate FX provider. So if you're doing thousands of transactions a month, it might be X might be best. If you're doing one a year, Y might be best. And if there's anyone who pays their own utility bills, we're able to review the utility bills to see if we can get you some savings. Quick bit on that. When COVID happened last year, the price of oil fell through the floor. Gas utility providers were able to buy gas cheaply. And at the time, business risk hadn't been affected by COVID. You've now got oil prices beginning to rise. Businesses' credit scores going the other way. So what we're able to do is, all we need is a client's utility bill. We get them a report that shows 1-year providers, 3-year providers, and 5-year providers, totally transparent, all the players in the market. You then decide, I want to have a 3-year deal. And you can even do that if your current deal doesn't finish until, let's say this December. So you're able to pre-book a deal that starts in December. And obviously the advantage of that is good for cash flow planning. And you're able to see what your savings is going to be.
Okay, brilliant. So I don't know whether, do you think you need to give any more demonstration within the system?
I don't think so, guys.
No?
I'll jump back out. I'll stop sharing.
Brilliant. Okay, so my next question was going to be, who is Swoop for? But I think you've kind of answered it. It's from kind of startup all the way to, large players, because you're offering loans, banks, the whole shebang, really. I think a key question that I've got here for our clients is, how do our clients make the most out of Swoop? Because I know when I first logged into the system, I thought, how much do I need to put in here? How much do I need to get everything now? Do I need to set, half a day aside to get all this information? So how do our clients make the most out of Swoop?
Okay, and I think that's the simple answer is, because you can build on the information that's on the system. You can use it. That's a crap answer in actual fact. So if somebody was going on and they have a particular, get that particular need sorted, the funding team might be able to go, actually, this client who's looking for some funding support now, actually, there's also the potential for looking for grants. There's also the potential for making some utility savings. There's also the potential for X, Y, and Z. that whilst we could do all that in one go, it's probably better that we just go, hold on, let's just sort out the immediate issue. Let's sort out the immediate problem now. And it might then be in 3 months' time, you as the client come back and go onto the website and go, I remember that thing about being able to potentially save money on my banking costs. I'm getting a bit pissed off with my current bank. Sorry, you can edit that out, Reece, if you like, for the general marketing. Okay, I'm a bit annoyed with my current bank. Yep. You can go on and you can then run the comparison and see what you save on the banking side. So it's as you see fit and as your needs dictate. And it's a combination of tech plus human being, which makes it better. You're muted.
Hi, Andrew. Sorry, did you you missed that? But I think I muted myself there. I think that was a key point that I was trying to get out there, was that they're going to be dealing with a person as well, aren't they? It's a combination of both. So they will be getting a phone call potentially from you guys.
And if it's something like, comparing bank accounts, if somebody's looking for a startup loan, that's kind of an automated process. But I suppose simply human, where you think that a human can add value. Yeah. Okay,
brilliant. So next question I've got here is basically why and how are Edwards of Gwynedd working with Swoop. So the why that I've got here, I've got 3 points that we've put down here as well. One, we want to give our clients the best opportunities to achieve their goals, whether that be with building our clients' knowledge, helping with systemizing the function, your finance function, providing real-time accurate data, saving tax, or in this case, just making them aware of the various products out there. Number two, by doing this, we can advise whether we feel the products are correct for you, and also assist with any applications. Number three, and I think this is quite important as well, especially for like older businesses that might not have considered these making any changes, is as we have a touch point each year with the annual accounts review and that side of things, we can then, if you've signed up for Swoop, we can go through this with you and have a look at which areas you might have not considered or might need reviewing. I mean, as a business owner myself as well, we know that it's, sometimes can be, you've got projects on and you can't consider, this, like, now might not be the right time to look at this for you, but at least once a year by signing up for this with Edwards of Gwynedd, we're going to be looking at these things. So as I say, now might not be the right time. A lot of people are busy, but then at least once a year, we're going to come in and have a look at this and go through all those grants, loans, and those side of things. How does the process work with Edwards of Gwynedd and Swoop? So if you sign up through a proposal, we will get your basic details set up on the system for you. If you haven't signed up through a proposal, you can sign up through one of the links. There was one link in the email that we initially sent out, but we're going to be sending out another link at the end of this webinar as well. And as I say, you can jump on board at any point and do a search of the products. You don't necessarily have to call me to go through it with you. You use it as you see fit. We're going to be discussing annually at the end of the year with a meeting and going through the various your issues, specific issues there. So as I say, for those that have already signed up to it through a recent proposal, we're going to be getting you up onto the system this week. So if you can, you should get an email. Andrew, will they get an email saying that they've been signed up onto the system?
You'll get notified, and we'll then check with you as to how they want to speak to us. So again, okay. If you entered somebody and you haven't put their name on, we've only got you. If you put their name and you put in the notes that you want us to talk to them directly, but let's assume that it's going through you first of all.
Okay, brilliant. And for those who haven't signed up, as I say, there's going to be a link, and that's the beauty of it. We can see, it's going to load up onto our system. So we're there then with you to follow through and provide any additional information that might be necessary for any of these loan applications, that side of things. So great. I've got any questions coming in. Okay, there we go. So getting to the end of my questions, and I think you might have answered some of these, but I'll just run through them again quickly. So who do you share the client's information with exactly?
It would only be shared with a provider when the client had said that they wanted us to make an application. On the equity side, we would be sharing the deck with the investor community that we work with. So it doesn't go out into the ether.
Okay, so it's only once they've made a specific. Okay. I think you've touched on it. How do you guys make your money?
We've covered that, but just a very quick summary. Equity, success fee, grants paid by the people we work with. If they're successful, they pay us. Debt, we get paid by providers. If somebody switches bank, we get a small amount from the bank. If somebody switches utilities, again, we get a small amount from utility providers. So there's no admin, there's no running around fees, there's no cost for using Swoop.
Brilliant. Are our clients going to get bombarded with junk email?
Absolutely not, no.
And do you have any reviews that the clients can refer to?
On the website, there are all sorts of reviews, yes. Okay,
brilliant.
And there are case studies on there of companies that we've helped, et cetera, et cetera. I think the total now that we've raised is something like 130 million of funding. And I think it's something like £9 million of business savings. If I'm out by the total is about 40 million, yeah. Okay,
brilliant. So brilliant. Before we get into the questions, I don't know whether anybody's got any questions stored up. If you can start typing them in now. Yeah, I'd just like to summarize basically and just say thank you to Andrew from Swoop for joining us today. It's on our 4th monthly webinar. So just to finish off, we're just going to do some quick fire questions just to summarize what we've gone through in today's webinar. So Andrew, if you can do this, it's like a test. In one sentence, can you let us know who Swoop are and what you do?
An under one roof, I'll start again. Under one roof, free to use integrated system for debt, equity, grants and savings.
Brilliant. And who Swoop is for?
Any SME, any size up and down the country.
And how do our clients make the most out of Swoop?
By using it appropriately as your needs dictate. So as your circumstances change, you know that you've got somebody you can go, I wonder if I can get anything on the grant side. I wonder if I can get anything on the debt side. So you've got an interactive solution. Okay, perfect. And then just to summarize, why and how Edwards and Gwynedd are working with Swoop. So on top of providing all the financial systems, tax savings, real-time accurate financial information, we want to provide product awareness, be able to assist in applications if necessary, and to systemize your savings by encouraging regular reviews. So yeah, those 3 points, hopefully working alongside, we're going to make some savings for our clients and everyone's going to win. Right. So if we've got any questions, bear with me. Chat. Has anybody got any questions out there? We'll allow it a few minutes. If not, or if you want to call me afterwards or have a chat about it, there's no problem. And if the client was on Xero and they uploaded, would it automatically see what loan they were what bank account they were using, or how would that work? Would they have to enter their current loan details in there to kind of with the system, or would it just? Yeah. So if you're talking to somebody if you've integrated your accountancy software, and you're now talking to somebody in the funding team, they might be able to see that you had, let's say, a loan with Funding Circle. But all they would be able to see would be the monthly payment that you're making. They wouldn't know the balance,
the finer detail
rate, and how long it's got to go. So they'd be saying that we can see you've got it. I had a call yesterday for somebody saying, I'd like to review my existing Funding Circle loan to see if I can replace it with a recovery loan. So they were able to then give us the balance, the interest rate, the number of months that's outstanding, and that will get fed into the mix to see if we can get them a better solution. But obviously we can't do that yet until the recovery loans are in public domain.
Yep. Brilliant. I think we're going to call it a day. I haven't got any other questions in. Thanks for your time again, and have a nice weekend.
Enjoy your weekends, everybody. Thanks, Reece.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye now.
Bye-bye.